Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And every Thursday, I've been doing a series called Is He a Hall of Famer, where I take a look at a player who many may consider on the fence as to whether they belong in their sports Hall of Fame or not. Take a look at their career, make my final verdict as to whether I believe they should be in or not. But I like hearing from you guys and whether you believe that the particular player should be in the Hall of Fame. I've actually done 18 of these. This will be the 19th one. I started off doing guys whose career recently ended or is on the verge of ending. Recently, I transitioned more into guys who have been retired for a decent amount of time, have been eligible for their Sports Hall of Fame, but haven't gotten in yet. So, the 19th episode of Is He a Hall of Famer is first baseman Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly. Mattingly spent his entire career with the Yankees from 1982 to 1995. So he played 14 seasons for the Yankees. Um, Also, later became a manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Miami Marlins, but that's not something we necessarily have to worry about for the series. We're just looking at how he played in his during his playing career. Let's take a look at his numbers via his baseball reference page. So you see his career numbers. Born on April 20th, 1961, Mattingly 42.4 WAR. Now, I do think WAR sometimes unfairly treats first baseman because, as we'll get into, Don Mattingly was one of the best defensive first basemen, but still has a negative defensive WAR for his career. So I think first basemen are unfairly treated. But anyway, 2,153 hits, 222 homers, a 307 batting average, 1,007 runs scored, 1,099 RBIs, 358 on base, 471 slugging, 830 OPS, a 127 OPS plus. Let's take a look at his season by season numbers with the team. Let me just move it over so we could see accolades as well. So he has some bold ink on his page, which always helps. Twice led the AL in hits, three times led the AL in doubles, once in RBIs, was a batting champ in 1984, once led in slugging, OPS, OPS plus, and twice in total bases. So again, plenty of bold ink. That's good. That's good. Mangley was named the 1985 AL MVP. That season, he led the league in both doubles, 48, RBIs, 145, cranked a career high 35 homers that season, and batted 324. Mangley also had AL MVP finishes of second, fifth, 7th, 15th, 18th, and 19th in his career. So four top seven MVP finishes, and they all came in a 4-year span from 84 to 87. Again, was one of the best fielding first baseman of his era, really of any era. 9 Gold Gloves, 5 in a row from 84 to 88, and 4 in a row from 91 to 94. 6 straight years from 84 to 89. Mangley batted over 300. He had 5 seasons of over 100 RBIs, including 4 in a row from 84 to 87. 3 straight years leading the league in doubles. Had 3 seasons, 3 consecutive as well, from 85 to 87, where he hit at least 30 homers. 2 others where he hit over 22 seasons where he scored over 100 runs. So again, he was a very productive player. Unfortunately, back ailments did shorten his career a bit, where he had to leave the game. It says his age 34 season he was still 34 in his last game of his career. So ended relatively early. You figure if he put up a few more years, you've had a better chance. Although, as you see, his power was sapped towards the end of his career. The last 2 seasons, he combined to hit just 13 homers. Had a under average OPS plus of 97, below average, not under average. That was just one of 2 seasons where he did so. 1990 also was a below average OPS plus year. But again, one of the better first baseman defensively, and definitely did put up numbers with the team. Now, we know the Yankees for sustained success, of course, have won plenty of World Series, even though they haven't been winning World Series recently. They're still a team that pretty much perennially makes the playoffs. So this was the dark days of the Yankees because if we take a look at Don Mattingly's postseason stats, that's it. His first 13 seasons, the Yankees did not make the postseason. Finally, in his last season, the Yankees do make the postseason. And he performed well in a 5 game series, although it was a loss to the Mariners. As you see, we're going 10 for 24, 4 doubles, 1 homer, 6 RBIs, 417 on base, 417 batting average, 1,148 OPS. So definitely was productive, but again, just only one postseason appearance in a 14-year career. If we take a look, he lasted 15 years on the Hall of Fame ballot, back when the Hall of Fame ballot you could stay 15 years on. Let me try to get them all on the page. Okay, so first year, 28.2% was his highest. Usually, I mean, for guys currently, usually they go up. Like, I think a Larry Walker, Billy Wagner, guys like Todd Helton, you see them go up every year. Mangley, that wasn't the case, as that was actually his highest total in 2001, 28.2%. So he stayed on the ballot all 15 years, but you see his last two did not even receive 10% of the vote. Of course, you need 75% of the vote to get in. Mattingly wasn't really close to that ever. Barely, only one season where he finished with more than a third of the amount of votes he needed to get in the Hall of Fame. 6-time All-Star. 6 straight seasons from 84 to 89, 3 straight Silver Sluggers from 84 to 86. So that's Don Mattingly's career. He does have a consecutive games record with a home run record, along with Ken Griffey Jr. and Dale Long, if you never heard of him. He's not a Hall of Famer, but Don Mattingly from July 8th to 18th, 1987, had 8 consecutive games with a home run. That was a season he finished with 30 homers, 115 RBIs, and a 937 OPS. So, again, just one of 3 players, him, Ken Griffey Jr., and Dale Long, the only 3 players ever to have 8 consecutive games with a homer. This is via CooperstownCred.com. So it mentions, was he the, well, let me scroll up because there's a lot of good quotes here. So making the Hall of Fame case for Donnie Mattingly, Donnie Baseball. Let's see who wrote this. Chris Bodig on November 23rd, 2022. So he mentions that, where was it? He's making the Hall of Fame. There we go. While he's being considered, the case that his advocates made, he was the best player in the game for that 6-year period of time. So that 84 to 89. So what some guys wrote, I believe all these guys had Hall of Fame votes. So John Heyman, he overcame his status as a 19th round draft choice to become one of the best 2 or 3 position players for a half decade. Before his bad back sapped his strength. The bonus, he's one of the 2 or 3 best fielding first basemen ever. Mike Vaccaro, I understand the opposing case, didn't play long enough, wasn't dominant long enough. I also know when he was healthy, Mattingly was as enjoyable a player to watch both sides of the ball as anyone in the last 30 years. I long ago came to terms that he won't get in. Doesn't mean I necessarily agree with that assessment, and these votes, better and worse, are nothing, not purely subjective. Mike Shalin, if you're the dominating player at your position or of the game for 5 or 6 years, you're a Hall of Famer. Throw in the defense, throw in the leadership qualities, whatever you want to throw in. I just think Don Mattingly is a Hall of Famer. And Bruce Jenkins, my 8th and final vote last year went to Don Mattingly for the same reasons I always voted for Walt Clark and Keith Hernandez. Each of these first basemen was a game changer, a hitter of legendary skills, consummate ball players who made their presence felt in every game. They were Hall of Famers at the time, not in retrospect during their prime years. Well, this Bleacher Reporter, and this article is from all the way back in 2010, but of course, Don Mattingly hasn't played since then. So, not like he's done anything to improve his standing. So he says Brian Kamenetz, Don Mattingly should not receive any Hall of Fame votes. And his case has a lot to do with comparing him to Keith Hernandez. So he mentions Keith Hernandez didn't stay on the ballot for 10 years. But then Mangley won 9 Gold Gloves, which is impressive. Hernandez won 11. Mangley's on base percentage was 358. Hernandez's was 384. Mangley is an OPS plus of 127. Hernandez 128. Hernandez did it over a longer career, a little over 300 more games. Hernandez and Mangley each won one MVP and one batting title. But while Hernandez was a key part of the 1982 and 1986 World Championship teams, and the 1988 division champions, Mangley was never able to lead his team to a single postseason game until his final season when the Yankees lost the ALDS to Seattle. Thing is, though, Hernandez did not belong in the Hall of Fame, and Mangley does not either. He goes on to mention that Boog Powell may have had a better career. I don't know if I could agree with that. Boog Powell was a little bit before my time, but in the end, is Don Mattingly a Hall of Famer? I have to say no. And that's not even me looking at WAR. I like looking at WAR, but I don't let it sway my opinion. I do think it's a good way to see a guy's career worth, but again, I think first basemen are not fairly treated when it comes to WAR. But again, yes, he was very good for a 6 year span. And I know baseball, one player makes the least difference. NBA, a star can lead your team to the playoffs pretty much almost single handedly. Football, the quarterback, hockey, maybe a hot goalie. Baseball, I mean, just look at the Angels. They have both Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, and they can't make the postseason. So I'm going to go no for Don Mattingly. I believe, what was it called? The Contemporary Eras ballot, the one that voted in Fred McGriff. There was 8 guys. 12 of 16, I think, need to vote to say yes in order for a player to get in. McGriff was voted in unanimously. Mattingly actually got the second most votes of the 8 guys that could have been voted on. Second most votes, I think he got 8 of 16, though, so he still fall well short. But let me know your thoughts. Do you believe Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly, should be in the Hall of Fame? Let me know, as always, if there's another player you would like to see me do on this. Really enjoy doing them, enjoy doing research, coming to my determination whether I believe that player should or should not be in the Hall of Fame. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.